Okay, I wanted to cover just a very basic general rotator cuff cleanup and biceps cleanup. So this is obviously the outer layer. I'm going to take off a layer of muscle because rotator cuff is deeper to that. So what I wanted to show you is, in particular, where the biceps tendon is. Most people that complain of really deep internal shoulder joint pain, but their x-rays or their physician tells them that they actually don't have much arthritis. What generally is the issue is that the biceps tendon is very irritated. So if you can look and see where biceps comes all the way up from the elbow, it actually goes and it goes inside and it actually attaches to the labrum of the shoulder. So I don't think it will show me it won't show me a very good labrum image, but just imagine your labrum. For those that golf, it basically sits right here on the rim and makes it deeper, makes a little bit more deepness to the socket so that the ball on the socket part has more surface area to be stabilized by. But it actually goes right into it, so the labrums are on this whole outer circle, but a lot of times that is the reason why people feel such deep internal. They're like, it's not hurting on the outside, but a lot of times it's biceps. So when they do a general shoulder cleanup, what they tend to be working on is this rotator cuff muscle right here. This is called your supraspinatus. So as you can see, it sits up here on the top of the shoulder blade, and it comes underneath this acromion process, which is what connects to your AC joint, right? I don't have any of the connective tissue on at the moment. Let me add some of this so we can see. All right, let me move this up. So you can see the joint capsule. You can't see the labrum, but you'll see where it comes into here. And then this right here is your AC joint. So if we take that back off, you can see why, in general, this is the most common areas of wear and tear, because if we have any of that forward rounded shoulders, this space, as you can see, it's just coming right underneath. This space decreases, and we tend to just get wear and tear here. Other ways that can get injured is if you have like a fall where you really just jam things up in here, that can get pinched and irritable. So what they tend to do is they go in and they just clean up any frayed muscle or any frayed tendon, and they make sure everything around biceps tendon is looking good. So that is just a very basic. Now I want to add on a couple of nerves to show you, because there is no such thing as pain or movement without nerves. It's what drives everything, right? So the main ones that I want to make you aware of, let me spin us around here on the back side. Okay, so if I take off this rotator cuff, so in general, rotator cuff is 4 muscles. It's your supraspinatus, your infraspinatus, your teres minor, and then over here on the front side is your subscapularis. But if we take that off, we'll see the nerve that actually innervates the rotator cuff. This is called your suprascapular nerve. So it does sensory to the actual shoulder joint, so pain deep in the shoulder joint, and it also supplies the motor function to all the musculature of the rotator cuff. So we tend to do a whole lot of deep tissue and soft tissue work around this area. If I go and add on one more layer of muscle, these muscles that connect to the shoulder blade, there's 17, but the main ones that we focus on, especially when overhead range of motion has been limited either because it's post-op surgery or pain, these guys that end up connecting, and when they are contracted, if you can kind of imagine, I'll just draw it on here. If this was activated, this muscle right here, and pulled upwards, you can kind of see how it would make this whole shoulder blade rotate. And technically we call that downward rotation. Okay, same goes for these rhomboids. So when we're looking at a shoulder in general, even though the surgery is on one spot, we're going to hit everything else in general because shoulder is very, very complex. Things connect from shoulder blade up to neck to the spine. So we're going to hit everything in general. But you can pretty well assume that when we are working on musculature, we're going to try to calm down the musculature that rotates that shoulder blade down. Because in order to go overhead, we got to be able to rotate up, and we'll strengthen all of the musculature that helps rotate up. So you'll be aware of this lower trap muscle. If you can kind of picture that, where it starts to pull, it's going to help rotate the whole thing overhead. So just wanted to give you an overview. Hope that is helpful to kind of just see why we're not just treating surgical site, we're treating everything else.